Welcome, UCL fans, to the Week 2 review analysis for the United Championship League off-season Little Cup Tournament. I'm your host, Nintendo Fanatic 64, and I've watched all the matches and come up with a great review, as well as later in the day I'll have a power rankings video up as well. If you do enjoy the video, please leave it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments section below what team you are rooting for during this off-season as well. So, we're going to jump right in. We're going to start this week in the Johto division. We had the Tucson Terrakions, who were 0-1, taking on the Toronto Tokakis, who were also 0-1. And it was a 4-0 victory for the Tucson Terrakions. MVP of the match goes to Hoenn from the Tucson Terrakions, who managed to get 2 knockouts this week. Then there was the Carolina Keldios, who are 1-0, taking on the Bronx Bearticks, who are also 1-0. And it was a 2-0 victory for the Bronx Bearticks. MVP of the match goes to Growlithe from the Bronx Bearticks, who managed to get 2 KOs this week. Honorable mentions go to Elekid and Carvana from the Carolina Keldios, each managing to get 2 knockouts as well. Moving on to the Hoenn division, we had the Pittsburgh Pichus, who were 0-1, taking on the St. Louis Rampardos, who were 1-0. After several disconnections, both teams decided to give the victory to the St. Louis Rampardos in a 3-0 fashion. The actual score after the last disconnect was a 5-2 in favor of the St. Louis Rampardos. The MVP of the match goes to Mianfu from the St. Louis Rampardos with 2 knockouts before the match was abruptly ended. Up next, we have the New York Yankees, who are 1-0, taking on the Grand Canyon Greninjas, who were 0-1. And it was a 2-0 victory for the New York Yankees. MVP of the match goes to Magnemite from the New York Yankees, who managed to get 2 knockouts this week. Moving on to the Sinnoh division, we have the Long Island Reggie Rockies, who are 1-0, taking on the Newcastle Nido-Kings, who are also 1-0. And it was a 4-0 victory for the Newcastle Nido-Kings. MVP of the match goes to the team captain from the Newcastle Nido-Kings, the Nidoran Male, who managed to get 3 knockouts this week. This could have been a little bit of a closer score had the Long Island Reggie Rockies decided not to try and set up almost with every single mon, but this is off-season, this is all for fun, so he wanted to try something different for it. Up next, we have the Philadelphia Feraligators, who are 0-1, taking on the Durham Druddigons, who are also 0-1. And it was a 3-0 victory for the Durham Druddigons. MVP of the match goes to Ammonite from the Durham Druddigons, who managed to get 2 knockouts after being knocked out thanks to setting up a layer of toxic spikes. Moving on to the Kanto division now, we had the South Beach Slow Kings, who were 1-0, taking on the Real Marill, who was also 1-0. And it was a 2-0 victory for the Real Marill. MVP of the match goes to Pancham from Real Marills, who managed to get 2 knockouts this week. And in the final match, we have the Tulsa Talonflames, who are 0-1, taking on the Bristol City Blazikins, who were also 0-1. And it was a 4-0 victory for the Tulsa Talonflames, who this week decided to try bringing a Trick Room team that ended up paying off. MVP of the match goes to Timber from the Tulsa Talonflames, who actually managed to get 5 knockouts this week. So after 2 weeks, our current standings, starting with the Johto division, we have the Bronx Bearticks ahead with 2-0, the Carolina Keldios and the Tucson Terrakions with a 1-0 record, and the Toronto Tokakis trailing behind with an 0-2. In the Hoenn division, we have the New York Yankees and St. Louis Rampardos tied for 2-0. We have the Pittsburgh Pichus and the Grand Canyon Greninjas behind with 0-2 records. In the Sinnoh division, we have the Newcastle Nido-Kings leading the group with a 2-0 record, Long Island Reggie Rockies and Durham Druddigons with a 1-1 record, and the Philadelphia Feraligators falling behind with an 0-2 record. Finally, in the Kanto division, we have the Real Marills with a 2-0 record leading the group. The South Beach Slow Kings and the Tulsa Talonflames tied with 1-1 records, and the Bristol City Blazikins with 0-2. Now, if you don't know why they're separated in divisions, I would definitely say go check out the earlier video I made, which the link will be in the description for it. But of course, the top teams with the best record from each division will move on into the semifinals. Now, that will be after a 6-week tournament. So a little bit later on this week, I'll also have my week 3 preview matchups and predictions for what I believe each team will bring, as well as who might actually win. So, but that's going to go ahead and wrap up our review for week 2. Don't forget, check out later on today, I will have the power rankings up. The power rankings are essentially how I will rank the teams based on how well they actually have done against all other teams. Very similar to the rankings I did during the Season 1 reviews. So, thank you all very much for watching, and you have yourself a good day. Take care and goodbye.